And good afternoon. This right here is a show that I'm going to try to get off its feet, and it's going to be the pilot episode of a program that I'm going to be calling Album Rant. And this is kind of a revamp of a show that I used to do on Snapchat, where every week I would go over a different album on vinyl, and I would just kind of talk about it and give my personal opinion on it. And I now want to upload this to YouTube and just kind of see where it goes, see where this takes us. And the very first album I want to start with is the self-titled album by Metallica.
Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see right here, I'd like to welcome you to my 100th episode of Album Rant. Yes, this is a very special occasion, and as you can see right here, what I am planning on doing actually is instead of actually reviewing another album on Album Rant, I instead want to kind of, take a step back and kind of revisit and reflect upon some of the high points or the low points of this show throughout the years. Gonna kind of have some fun with it, gonna kind of roast myself, and I apologize that when you're listening to the recording through the recording, it doesn't sound too good, but when has this channel ever sounded good? So, yes, this is going to be a clip show revisiting the highlights throughout the years in honor of the 100th episode. It's going to be very similar to, what sitcoms used to do back in the 90s when, they kind of ran out of ideas. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope it's a good tribute to all the work we've done throughout the years. And I have no one but the 188 subscribers I have to thank for this. I am really glad we've made it this far. So what you just saw was the very first 49 seconds of Album Rant ever. Yes, my very first review was reviewing the Black Album by Metallica, and back then they didn't really run very long, so there's a reason for that. I'm going to touch on that in a second, but anyways, let's just continue and let's go to the next one.
I think favorite from side two. And then Child in Time is definitely my favorite from side one. And it is definitely my favorite song off In Rock. And it's one of my favorite Deep Purple songs of all time. I don't know what my favorite Deep Purple song ever is, but Child in Time is a definite contender. And I may conquer that subject later. I may do a video on that. What's my favorite Deep Purple song? I'm not ready to do it now. I need to give it a lot of deep thought, no pun intended. But Child in Time is my favorite. This entire album is great. There is nothing that I dislike on here. Some I like more than others, but there is nothing I dislike. And I absolutely do recommend this album. 1970 was a huge turning point for hard rock music, and is often considered to be the birth year, I guess, birthday, birth year, whatever, of heavy metal, because there were many artists that came around that point, such as Black Sabbath, Deep Purple, Led Zeppelin starts kicking it up, Uriah Heep comes along, Lucifer's Friend is around, all of which had a profound impact on 80s and 90s heavy metal. And so, guys, I absolutely do recommend In Rock. It is a classic, and it's one of the greatest albums ever made. Anyways, as I said,
Whoa, what happened there? Yeah, what was actually going on is back then I had an iPhone 12 and I had very little memory on the phone. I only had like 64 gigabytes, so the episodes they I did not have a lot of room on my phone to hold them, and I kind of ran out of memory right there. So instead of just re-recording the episode, I just left it like it was. But I mean, looking back, I easily could have re-recorded that. It was only there again. The episodes were only like 9 or 10 minutes back then. It wouldn't have been too big of a hassle, but for some reason, I just left it on there. But I had a great pun at the end. But I guess you'll never know about it.
this album holds the final sessions. Okay,
Oh yeah,
really
this is the
don't know.
Kiss album ranking video.
Apparently,
This is my highest rated episode, actually. I have over 2,000 views on this.
Realize what a
I did not have good camera angles here. I'm going to tell you that right now.
But then what happened is in '97, they knew they were going to put the makeup back on.
I'm actually recording off my iPad, and so I had to do that back then because my iPad has more memory than the phone. I knew this was going to last a very long time, so it was a little awkward positioning my iPad. That's the reason for that.
They decided just to release it anyways because, well, they had it on the table, so why not? But honestly, this thing is a grunge reject, okay? This does not sound like Kiss. This is really, really bad grunge music. And if you look right here, there is barely anything to talk about. I mean, I guess I don't fully mind.
Yeah, I caught some flack for that. I mean, I absolutely trashed Carnival of Souls, and of course, people come on, they're like, "Hey, what are you talking about? Carnival of Souls is excellent. You just don't get it." Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I guess I don't get it. Let's see what else is on here. Oh yeah,
Kiss me for obvious reasons.
Love Gun.
Could have done worse, but probably should have left that one off. All right, top three. Top three. Third place is going to be their big.
Whoa, Satan Center. What?
Late '70s, early '80s.
That's not a Kiss album.
Delving into alternate musical genre.
Yeah, that is absolutely hilarious. As you'll see right here, I'm about to review I'm about to rank Creatures of the Night.
Decided to come back and be a full-fledged rock band again. And this is definitely
It was borderline heavy metal.
Being a metal band.
There we go.
1982's Creatures of the Night.
Yeah, so Creatures of the Night was third place there, and there's a song that's called Saints and Sinners, and I'm guessing YouTube, to them, I slurred my speech or whatever, and it sounded like I said Satan Sinner, but I just gotta say, that is flat out hilarious. Like, might have been funny if I named the channel Satan Center, but too late. It's gonna be Album Rant.
Shout it out loud. Another anthemic number. He does is sing. And from what I understand, his writing contributions were minimal. But still, it was a huge hit, especially with women, and it definitely Destroyer. 2 is the debut. 3, Creatures of the Night. 4, Love Gun. 5, Hotter Than Hell. 6, Rock and Roll Over. 7, Lick It Up. 8, Ace Frehley's solo album.
Yeah,
9,
didn't have enough room.
Rest to Kill. 10, Revenge.
The albums would have hit the
11,
camera.
Dynasty. 12, Paul Stanley solo album.
Yeah, I still stand by this.
13, Psycho Circus.
I do stand by this ranking.
Monster.
It's been over almost 3 years.
16, Sonic Boom.
A lot of those cracks in the CD, I have replaced the cases, by the way.
17, Crazy Nights. 18, Asylum. 19, Hot in the Shade. 20, Unmasked. 21, Gene Simmons
Yeah,
solo
like that
album.
crack.
22, Music from the Elder.
Oh, another album a lot of people are saying, Results, just awesome album.
Definitely leave. Do not like this one.
Ah, that's my alarm.
Souls. So, yeah, that was a lot, but
Yeah, I got flack for putting Carnival of Souls last. I got flack for putting Destroyer first. So no matter what, you can't please everyone. But like I said, that's the only episode I've ever had that's cracked 2,000 views, and most of the feedback I've gotten has been very positive on that one. So I just want to say thank you guys. All right, so here's my review of the 598 Garage Days Revisited EP by Metallica. And as you can see right here, it's just a compilation of covers. And this was one of my earlier episodes also. And actually, this did get me into some trouble later, which I will touch on in a second. But Let's see what happened here.
Then we come to a song called Crash Course in Brain Surgery. Oh, that sounds like a horrible idea. But it's a cover of a song by a prog rock band called Budgie. And I've heard a few Budgie songs, and I don't think it's really quite my thing either. And
Ooh, that did not age well, not at all. Shortly after this episode, actually, I decided to, find out more about Budgie because I knew who they were for the longest time. I had heard, of course, a couple of their songs, The Bread Fan, The Crash Course in Brain Surgery, and I was just like, maybe I should check them out. And I had wanted to buy an anthology a long time ago back in high school, but I just never did for some reason. But anyways, I went out and bought that anthology, and now I own every single Budgie album on vinyl, and they very much are my thing now. In fact, I rank them as my 30th, yeah, my 30th favorite artist of all time. So, just gotta say, if you keep broadening your horizons, you may find some stuff you like.
do a decent cover here. I probably would put the Metallica version above the Budgie version just because I like Metallica better. But
They're on pretty similar levels.
disposable, but it's worth a listen. And then we come to what is a combination of two separate songs, Last Caress and Green Hell by the Misfits,
Ooh.
who are fronted by Glenn Danzig, which is a punk band. And again, obviously, I'm not too much into punk rock, and so I am definitely going to prefer the Metallica version over the Misfits version.
I stand by that.
It's pretty silly. I mean, just listen to some of these lyrics. I got something to say. I raped your daughter today.
Oh man, I messed that up big time. Yeah. I was not very proud of that moment right there. When I'm up here and I'm, going over these albums and everything, and I decide to recite some of the lyrics, like it's hard to recall them actually when your mind is just going in so many different directions. It is for me at least, and after I butchered the lyrics several times going forward in future episodes, I actually did start having the lyrics printed out, like off to the side, so I could go to them. And it made things go a lot more smoothly. But, this is still my early days, so I'm still learning or leering.
We're talking about the Motor City Madman.
Oh, yeah, my Ted Nugent review.
And I thought that this
Need to talk
would
about
be
him
a
more.
very good opportunity. Take a look at his debut album, simply entitled Ted Nugent. And that is the man right there that you see on the cover. And just give you a little bit of a history. He originated in the late 60s, early 70s as part of a band out of Detroit. Right back up with Stormtroopin', which is a lot faster. And
Stormtroopin'
is another very, very solid number by the band. There's a slight misconception.
I can't remember why the camera's shaking.
A few months ago before I corrected it. But a lot of people seem to think that Cliff Davies sings Stormtroopin'. No, he doesn't. It is clearly Derek St. Holmes who.
Yeah, I might have to walk that back actually, because I'm still gonna stand by this. Whoever is singing Stormtroopin' sounds dead like Derek St. Holmes. I have seen live versions. Derek is singing it, but yeah, I saw an interview from Ted Nugent himself recently, and he says it's Cliff Davies, so I might have to correct myself there. But I swear it sounds like Derek, but if Ted is saying it's Cliff, I might just have to, man up and admit I made a mistake. I've made several actually. But I still don't know if when Ted said that, if he's referring to the studio version or live versions, because after Derek left the band, I fully concede that it's logical that Cliff may have sung it in concert on some live versions maybe, but I really don't know. But yeah, that may have to be something I'll walk back. All right, let's check out Ozzy Osbourne.
Welcome everyone to episode 18 of Album Rant. And I cannot believe we made it this far, and I just gotta say I could not do that without any of y'all. But before I get into
Still
episode 18,
maintain that position.
Go backwards a bit to episode 17. As you may recall, episode 17 was about the album Heaven and Hell by Black Sabbath. And that was the very first record that they put out without lead vocalist Ozzy Osbourne, who was let go to excessive and hardcore drug usage, leading to some very erratic behavior, which resulted in some very substandard albums coming out, at least in comparison to what came before it.
That's right. Technical Ecstasy and Never Say Die are technically, there we go, no pun intended, technically not bad albums, but yeah, compared to those first six, they are very, very not what the band was capable of. And yeah, that was my introduction to Blizzard of Oz right there. And by the way, I don't know what I was thinking with this angle right here. Like it looks like the record's about to fall off the table. I don't know what I was doing, but I very easily could have fixed that, and I did the next episode. So yeah, I guess again, it was like over 2 years ago. I can't remember what was going through my head.
So I talked about Heaven and Hell last week, and it's throughout the 80s or so. I'm not sure if he still kicks it off with this one, but it's definitely a great opener, and I have no complaints whatsoever. Then we have Crazy Train. Yes, I am sure you have heard that song before. It is on classic rock radio nonstop. It is a good song, I will say that, but yeah, by this point, I think it's kind of run its course, no pun intended, but yeah, I think we can
I
kind
didn't
of
even plan that.
one down a bit and not overplay it so much.
And yeah, that's a very good point. Like Crazy Train gets all the credit. Like that's the song everyone knows by Ozzy Osbourne, but I would actually argue that I like I Don't Know even better than Crazy Train. Why? I don't really know. No pun intended. All right, so this is one of my episodes of Face Off. This was Styx versus REO Speedwagon, and this was really these were really the two artists that really inspired me to do Face Off in the first place. I was just running one day and I just got the idea of just thinking about Styx and REO Speedwagon, and I'm really glad it made it as far as it did. And yeah, I swear I did not even notice that little smudge mark on the table till like after I had done recording, and I think I wiped it off for the next episode. But yeah, that's pretty uncomfortable.
We come to round 11. We have Kilroy Was Here by Styx and Wheels Are Turning by REO Speedwagon, also known as that album with Can't Fight This Feeling on it.
Yeah,
So
true.
yeah, I guess spoiler alert, this one has Can't Fight This Feeling on it. Uh there is a really good song on here. It is the opener. It is called I Don't Wanna Know. It's kind of an attempt by the band to return to their early days, and it's more of a hard rockin' song that has kind of a boogie feel to it, and I like it. I know a lot of people don't like this album. I do at least like that kickoff sound. It sounds like something from the early 70s, which is why I'm really drawn to it. Uh, One Lonely Night, Through the Window are pretty disposable. Rock and Roll Star, I actually do have a soft spot for. Live Every Moment, not really. But yes, we now come to track 6, Can't Fight This Feeling. We've all heard it. We all especially hear it on Valentine's Day. I'm not going to say much more about it except this. Is it a good song? No. But, again, I do think it's well written. I do think it's catchy. Even though it's bad, I still actually somewhat kind of enjoy it, and I do have a soft spot for it. I'm going to be honest, if I'm in the car and it comes on the radio, or if it comes up in my CD rotation, I'm definitely really going to listen to it. I'm definitely not just going to tune out and just let it pass. I'm sorry, I really don't mind it. The rest of the album is kind of flat. I do kind of like the title track. Now, I am going to say this. I do not think Wheels Are Turning is a great REO Speedwagon album. I do not think it's a great rock album. But it's better than Kilroy Was Here, and here's why. it is still at least a rock album. Kilroy Was Here, I absolutely hate.
Yeah, some people did not really agree on that take right there, but I still stand by it, okay? Kilroy Was Here. I freaking hate that album so much. There is not a single redeeming quality on Kilroy Was Here, and I'm just gonna say this right now. I hate Mr. Roboto. Yeah, Wheels Are Turning, not a great album, definitely kind of poppy, but it's catchy at least, and I Don't Want to Know is a pretty good song, actually. Yeah, going back to the final results on this one, actually, I kind of wish that I had actually finished. As you can see right here, I only went up through the first 12 albums, but REO Speedwagon actually has 15 albums. So I really could have gone a little bit further. I don't know why I didn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish that right here. So what was that? Round 12. Round 13 would have been The Earth, A Small Man, His Dog, and a Chicken by REO Speedwagon versus Brave New World by Styx. REO Speedwagon wins. That's 8-5 REO Speedwagon. Then we had Building the Bridge by REO Speedwagon versus Cyclorama by Styx. Cyclorama by Styx wins. That's 8-6 REO Speedwagon. And then finally, we had Find Your Own Way Home versus The Mission. I actually do kind of like The Mission. Find Your Way Home is good for what it is, but still not great. Styx wins, so 8-7 REO Speedwagon. The final results are not affected. Okay, REO Speedwagon is still the winner.
Hello and good evening, everybody, and I'd like to welcome everyone to episode 32 of Album Rant. And believe it or not, I have not talked about these guys too much on this channel so
Yep,
far.
Rush.
And tonight I am hoping to rectify that, and I'd like to once again discuss Canadian power trio Rush. And they were formed in the early 70s, and the original lineup consisted of Jeff Jones on bass guitar and lead vocals, Alex Lifeson on lead guitar, and John Rutsey on the drums. And they recorded a few songs, but in all honesty,
Yeah, Rush is one of my all-time favorite artists, and I love them all throughout high school. And 2112 was actually the very it won the album ranking video that I did on Rush, and so it really is very special to me. This episode is actually a lot harder to produce or a lot harder to get everything correct than you might think. Yeah.
we're going to go with Killing Machine by Judas Priest.
Judas Priest versus Iron Maiden.
It's Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden. And both of these albums start out very strong. I mean, on Killing Machine, we have Delivering the Goods. I mean, when it first starts out, I don't know, oh my God. There are some songs on here that I would consider quote unquote filler. They sound great, but I don't think they're quite as well written as the first track, Where Eagles Dare. So I am going to give this round to Killing Machine.
Yeah, some of you were not too happy with me for that. Yeah, I'm still just gonna be brutally honest. I don't know what the big fuss is about Peace of Mind. I just don't get it. It is a great album actually, but some people are calling it the greatest heavy metal album ever, and I just don't see it. I still stand by giving the round to Killing Machine, but yeah, a lot of people, uh, disagreed. I'll just say that. All right, let's check out Ace of Spades by Motorhead, which surprisingly has a 0% approval rating. Granted, only one person's actually, liked or disliked. I guess it's disliked in this situation, but yeah, I mean, this episode isn't any better or worse than any other episode. I mean, it definitely is not one of my favorites. I really think this one could have gone a little bit better, but it's far from the worst thing I've ever done. But this has a 0%. So let's just see what happened here.
Okay, if you thought Love Me Like a Reptile reptile left little to the imagination. Well, we now come to track 5, Fast and Loose. Another very sleazy sex song, and I mean, the title says everything, okay? It's about someone who's fast and loose, so there you go. It's also pretty fast, and it's got a pretty good kick to it, but it's definitely lacking in comparison to Love Me Like a Reptile. Love Me Like a Reptile, like I said, grabbed me from the very second it started.
I still stand by that.
It does grab me, but maybe not in the same way, but I still kind of like it. But then we come to the album Closer, We Are the Road Crew, and
yeah, I kind of have a dirty mind.
tonight we are going to cover episode 56 of Album Rant. And yes, we are moving right along, and I am so proud of this channel. And as I've said many times before, it is all about you guys because you all make this possible, and I am very, very thankful. But tonight, I am going to dive back into the world of Black Sabbath. And I've talked about them many times on this channel before in various contexts, but I believe this is my 3rd episode actually focusing on an actual Black Sabbath album. And tonight, it is going to be their 6th studio release, released in the year 1975, entitled Sabotage. And that is what you see right here. Now, as
you know, I am all for free speech and everything and having a healthy discourse, but for whatever reason, I got a very nasty comment in the comment section on this one. And this is actually only one of 2 times I've ever actually deleted a comment. I mean, usually if it's negative, I just ignore it unless they misquote me. If they misquote me or say I said something I didn't, I do take issue with that and I will address that. But this was like, you know, using profanity towards me, accusing me of yelling and everything, although I really don't understand why you can't just turn the volume down if you think I'm too loud. That's just my nature. I'm just loud. That's just how I am. I get excited, and I'm very passionate about this, which, you know, a lot of people are. I'm just trying to express myself. But, you know, I get it. When you're posting anonymously, you can say whatever you want and with no repercussions or anything, but you know, just on this channel, try to keep it civil, but I still do love this album. I thought this was a fairly decent episode. I don't think it was as bad as whoever posted that let off.
rock, heavy metal, definitely folk music in some places. And to me, at least, when I first started getting into these guys, I really thought that they
Yeah, you can see my hands waving.
Purple. Now, this is nothing against Uriah Heep, but let's just be honest. I do not think these guys quite reach the heights of music in some places. And to me, at least, when I first started getting into these guys, I really thought that they sounded like a poor man's Deep Purple. Now, this is nothing against Uriah Heep, but let's just be honest. I do not.
Yeah, I don't know who. Yeah, it was someone by the name of Daredevil SR17. Man, props to you. You left me the most epic comments in the comments section. You really love Uriah Heep, and I'm really glad you love my review and everything, but you're the man, man. I'm just gonna tell you. But yeah, you did say they are not a poor man's Deep Purple, and I don't think I actually said they were, but just initially when I first got into Uriah Heep, they seem to me like a poor man's Deep Purple, but they aren't. They are their own separate thing, and I fully respect that. But they do have some rather similar styles, even though having enough differences. But this review came like shortly after that Sabotage review where I got savaged, and it was a completely different experience with Uriah Heep. I just gotta say, Uriah Heep fans, y'all are awesome, okay? You guys are like the friendliest people out there, and I really do appreciate your support, so, keep on, man.
I think these guys quite reach the heights of Deep Purple, but
I still stand by that.
Very, very amazing for what it is. They are often lumped together as being considered to be one of the big 4 of the formation years of heavy metal, along with Black Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, and Deep Purple.
Yeah, I've already said that. All right, here we go, guys. The infamous Theater of Pain episode.
Brings me to the subject of tonight's review, which is their third studio release entitled Theater of Pain, released in 1985.
I
And
can hear
just
the
to kind of
cat.
set the stage here, the band they had kind of a low point at this point, if you believe it or not, okay? First of all, Nikki Sixx was drifting very, very far into a heroin addiction. And from what I understand, he was never a great bass player to begin with.
He wasn't.
But, apparently he was really being absorbed by his substance abuse. Vince Neil, ooh, this is awkward. He was under the influence and was in his car, and he ran over the drummer from a band called Hanoi Rocks, and his name was Nicholas Razzle Dingley. And
Oh yeah, I goofed there. I fully admit it. He did not run him over. Razzle was the passenger. Okay, um, my mistake, my fault. I dropped the ball there. But yeah, like at least at least five or six or 10 or how many ever people pointed that out to me, and I just got ripped to shreds on that. Maybe I deserved it. But yeah, this episode, I don't know what it is about Theater of Pain. It has such a dedicated group of haters out there, and I admire your passion and everything, but I still don't think the album is that bad. Is it as good as Too Fast for Love or Shout at the Devil? No. Are there plenty of other much better albums out there? Yeah, but I still don't believe it was a full glam sellout. I don't think Motley Crue ever fully did that. But yes, they were moving closer and closer to glam, starting with this one, but I don't think they were fully there. Watch me get torn up in the comments once again.
new and they had another guitarist. I forget the guy's name. I'll remember it one day. But anyways, he did not really
I got a really hilarious comment in the comment section, actually. I think what the guy say, he said, "Man, this album sucks so bad, even the cat hates it." I have no response for that. I just don't. But all I can really do with that is just laugh. But man, props to you. That was pretty funny. Now, Song Tournament actually doesn't usually do very well, and I think I have a good idea going here, but it's just what people like, so whatever. But yeah, this is my Poison Song Tournament. And by the way, I just recently did another song tournament by Whitesnake, and I changed the format up so the video is a little bit more clear. So give me some feedback as to whether you think that looks better. I think it does, but. Yeah, what I'm doing right here is I have my iPhone and recording my computer. You can see a little bar over here. That's a little distracting. But yeah, this is the Poison Song Tournament. This one actually probably did the best out of all of them. So we have that at least.
one of the last songs they do, at least every time I saw them. I've seen them, I think, 3 times now, and they always say this one towards the end. But then we have Flesh and Blood Sacrifice, which is obviously from the Flesh and Blood album. And I actually think this one is better than Nothing But a Good Time. It's, again, a very, very heavy song by Poison standards. And, again, the rhythm just really sells it because it is such a catchy song. And, we have Flesh and Blood, Sacrifice. That's the hell like fire and...
Melts the heart like fire and ice. Yeah, I forgot the lyric there and I was just mumbling. I'm gonna be brutally honest. I was just trying to get through that and like halfway through when I started singing that, I was like, oh, this is a big mistake. And turns out it was. All right, let's have a look at Def Leppard. This is the High and Dry album or review of the album.
Come to the title track, High and Dry Saturday Night. This one's a little bit more bluesy, which is it's an interesting approach in retrospect for this artist, but I still gotta say I like it. I mean, they don't do that many blues numbers, but But I mean,
Yeah.
it starts out dun 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 dun.
Yeah, fun little trivia fact. Sometimes when I do that, I kind of hum, the rhythm or whatever. In the translate section on YouTube, where it's giving you kind of a script of what I'm saying, sometimes it just says parentheses or brackets music. And the fact that YouTube actually considered that to be music, I'm actually quite flattered by.
I'm not a loner. I'm not a fool. Don't need a reason be cool. I got my whiskey. I got my wine. I got my woman. And this time the lights are going out. Saturday night, I'm high and dry.
Ooh, I did not hit those notes very well at all. I'm very out of key there. This review it has 100% approval rating, which again, thank you guys so much. And I did get a comment that said, "Please don't attempt to sing the title track again." Yes, sir. I will never do that again. I can promise you that, because I hear myself, and even I admit that was terrible.
You wanted the best. You got the best. The hottest band in the world, Kiss.
All right, yes, I fully admit that was not what they said before concerts during this era. I was just referring to the broader scope. That was just my way of introducing Kiss as an artist, not the album. Okay, I got again a lot of blowback in the comments section because I used the wrong phrase in relation to this era. I wasn't trying to. I just wanted to introduce Kiss as an artist. So. You are correct. That is not what they said over the loudspeaker before the opening track on this live album, but I understand that, but you are correct. But anyways, I gotta hand it to you guys. Kiss fans really seem to be very passionate. Like I said, my Kiss album ranking video from the worst to the best. It is my highest rated episode, and I am very proud of that. And I just want to say thank you all once again. But yeah, every time I talk about Kiss, I get quite the lively comment section, and it's quite interesting. But
welcome everybody
move on.
to episode 67 of Album Rant. And as you can see right here from the front of your screen and from the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about Kiss once again. Now, this is going to be my 5th time talking about Kiss in any context. Creature of the Night album and the Ace Frehley solo album. But tonight, I'm going to be reviewing their very first live album, released in the year 1975, appropriately entitled Alive. But before I get started, I just want to give a quick...
Hey, there's the cat again.
Everybody
always getting in the way.
Views this channel and subscribes to this channel, because just recently, just last week, we cracked 100 subscribers. I am now up to 103 subscribers. I just want to say
now it's 188.
I'm very appreciative. I could not do this without you, and it just really does mean a lot to me. So this episode tonight is for you. Anyways, as you all probably know by this point, Kiss was, and they did recently retire, they were an American glam rock band that originated in the early 70s in New York City. And I believe they played their very first concert in Madison Square Garden.
Oh, no, 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 no. I don't know where I heard that. I obviously misheard, because that's not true. They didn't play in the Gardens until much, much later. So yeah. Many people pointed that out. I'm sorry, I was wrong.
Deuce, Black Diamond, 100,000 Years, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse.
Firehouse.
A whole lot of Kiss classics were on that album, and I did rank it second in my album ranking video. Then, later that year, still in 1974, they released their follow-up album entitled Hotter Than Hell. And something about that one didn't quite work for me, at least.
Here's the other cat.
Not as well as the debut album. Don't get me wrong, I still ranked it 5th.
Hey, where are you going? Peter Criss is right here. You should be wanting to, rub your face against him. For obvious reasons. So now I'm going back to the Uriah Heep album ranking video from the worst to the best for Uriah Heep. And once again, shout out to you guys because there's just so much positivity in the comments section whenever I talk about Uriah Heep. Y'all are awesome. Y'all are a great group of individuals. But let's recap and see how this ended up.
Things up a bit, so I kind of had to. But just to recap once again, so you can kind of keep track of everything. Number one, look at yourself.
Yep.
2, very heavy, very humble. 3, Salisbury. 4, Demons and Wizards. 5, The Magician's Birthday. 6, Sweet Freedom. 7, Wonder World.
And that just about rounds out the classic David Byron era.
8, Abominog.
Yes.
9, Wake the Sleeper. 10.
Yeah, I'm going to reiterate once again, that latter Bernie Shaw era is awesome. Like, it's, aside from the classic David Byron era, that is their second best era. And if you've let those albums slip through the cracks, go pick them up. I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed.
Into the Wild. 11, Living the Dream. 12, Chaos in Color. 13, Outsider. 14, Firefly. 15, Head First. 16, Raging Silence. 17, Return to Fantasy. 18, I Am Mighty. 19, Sea of Light. 20, Innocent Victim. 21, Fallen Angel. 22, Different World. 23, Sonic Origami. 24, Equator. And 25, deserves to be here, Conquest. So,
yeah, I still stand by that. I still do agree with that ranking. A few people were wondering why I didn't put Equator last and really did not appreciate the fact that Equator wasn't in last place. I mean, guys, it's second to last. It's not like I'm speaking highly of it or anything. I still think it's a pile of crap, or I still think it's a glossy pop rock sellout, so I'm not defending it or anything. I just think Conquest is a little bit worse. Yeah, this is The Last in Line by Dio, and amazing album. Okay, I one of my favorite Dio albums, and I'm not sure if I said this earlier. I probably didn't, but someone actually, I heard this on the internet actually. Someone pointed this out. Dio had a great 6 album streak with Rainbow Rising, Long Live Rock and Roll, Heaven and Hell, The Mob Rules, Holy Diver, and The Last in Line. And actually, I might actually tag on Sacred Heart at the end also.
Buddy, and I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's episode of Album Rant. And as you can see right in front of you, I am going to return to the world of Dio. Most recently, I incorporated him into an episode of Face Off where he went up against Ozzy Osbourne. Well, tonight I am going to hone in and focus on one of his studio releases, released in 1984. It is his second studio album entitled The Last in Line, and I am really, really excited about this. But in case you kind of need a recon to the title track. Now, the title track starts out very, very soft, actually. And it sounds almost like a pop song. Maybe not completely, but it kind of does. And I gotta admit, that was kind of a turnoff when I first got into Dio. Like, back then, when I picked up a greatest hits album, I would kind of just skip right through it and try to pick out the more hard rocking songs, and I'll just listen to those. Well, guys, I was absolutely wrong. Because after that intro that I said was kind of soft, the song just explodes. Da-na-na-no, da-na-no-no-no-no-no. And this is one of his most well-written songs
That could have been worse.
in his entire discography. He has some hits, I'll admit that. He has got some great music. This one is up there, okay? And the rhythm is just so great. It's like, and it's basically, we're off to the witch. We may never, never, never come home, the magic that we feel is worth a lifetime. And it is just, like I said, so mighty, so thunderous, and it just flows so well. And man, it is heavy. But of course, the best part is definitely the chorus. There's not much to it, but he pulls it off so well. We'll know for the first time if we're evil or divine. We're the last in line.
Yes, Dio pulled that off very well. Did I? I'm pretty sure the consensus is going to be no. So this right here was my review of The Serpent is Rising by Styx, and for the most part, I think I did an okay job here, but I just want to kind of recap on this part right here. I'm going to recite the lyrics to the Plexiglass Toilet, which is a bonus, or not bonus track, a hidden track after As Bad as This. And I swear, guys, I am doing the best I can to keep myself from laughing.
Actually, it doesn't. It goes 6 minutes and 10 seconds. That is actually because there is a hidden track after As Bad as This, and it is called the Plexiglass Toilet. Yes, apparently Dennis and JY were so insulted and hated this song so much that they refused to play on it. Now you might be asking yourself, well, it's called Plexiglass Toilet. How bad can it be? Well, let's listen to the lyrics. Don't sit on the plexiglass toilet, said the mama to her son. Wipe the butt clean with the paper. Make it nice for everyone. So don't sit on the plexiglass toilet. Yeah. A boy of 5 stands close to the toilet, holds the lid up with one hand, won't let go of the lid for fear that on his banana it will land. So don't sit down on the plexiglass toilet. Yeah. It sounds...
Yeah, I could not stop from laughing. That song is so ridiculous and so stupid, and it's actually kind of funny if you think about it.
Fast, very different feel to it than the rest of the album, and I think it's a very, very welcome addition. But I got a crazy little mama, Lord, she's my heart and soul. I don't need to have to tell you, she knows how to rock and roll. Well, it's crazy loving mama, making everything all right. I don't need to have to tell you, she makes things seem out of sight. I think I did.
I need to not try to sing Boogie anymore. Note to myself.
And we come to the climax. We have the title track, written and sung by John Kurleski. He really takes over the end of this album, and it's awesome, okay? The title track is very heavy and very dark. Don't, 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 and yeah, it's like I said, it's a very heavy prog number, and it's incredibly dark. And I really, really love this. In the abyss of space, from the center of time, a Superman race moves the serpent to climb. And yeah, you can probably guess by now what the serpent really represents and why it's rising. Yeah, the innuendo was a little bit obvious, but putting all that...
Walking that back a bit, apparently it's not about a guy getting a stiffy. Yep, that was not one of my finer moments. All right, Deep Purple, Machine Head. Let's recap on this.
That brings me to where we are right now, 1972's Machine Head. And the band mostly, or this was probably mostly just Richie Blackmore, he really felt around this time that their...
there's the cat again.
Sounded a lot better than their studio albums. And he wanted to kind of change the sound up a little bit on this one to produce a sound that was more reflective of their live
Yeah, she doesn't really know how to say it out of the way sometimes, but that's Callie for you.
And I totally understand that, okay? This album, and there is quite an interesting story behind this one. It was supposed to be recorded at the Montreux Casino in Switzerland.
All right, Them by King Diamond. Let's go.
Fate EP, but unofficially it's called the Nuns Have No Fun EP. And I think it's Caron, and it's about the success of Abigail. Well, let's find out. So you can see right here on the album cover, there's nothing really all that extreme. You might be expecting, to see like a nun being sacrificed on a cross, or a decayed, burned up skull, or a picture of hell with Satan pointing at you. No, we just
Those were all on the covers of Merciful Fate albums.
have a picture of a house. Sometimes less is more. And something about this house is called Amen, and it is going to be the setting of this concept album of this horror story. So let's see what's inside here.
Yeah, one thing I actually did during the Them review and the Abigail review, actually, I've reviewed Them and Abigail. I actually kind of told the story as I went through the album, and I just gotta say, those albums need to become horror films. They would totally work. Why no one has thought to do that, I don't know, but it really needs to happen. All right, guys, Metallica versus Megadeth. This is the moment where I seem to have pissed off like half the internet.
We have the Garage Days revisited EP versus Rust in Peace. And essentially, guys, after Master of Puppets, I'm sure you know, Cliff Burton, Metallica's bassist, tragically lost his life. And so they found a new bassist in the form of Jason Newsted, who was with them from 1986 to 2001, I want to say. And this EP, it's an EP of covers, and it was just a way to kind of get.
Yeah, the reason I included Garage Days Re-Revisit and in Garage Incorporated, I just wanted the game to go along further as far as possible. And apparently so many people wanted a matchup between And Justice for All and Rust in Peace, and the fact that I included the EP, they didn't get that, and I got so much feedback on that. So many people wanted to see that matchup or how this would turn out if I did not include the covers albums. I actually did a rematch in my episode after this, which was the Secret Treaties episode, and I followed through on that. But I mean, if you feel that I didn't match things up correctly, I mean, it actually doesn't bother me. I actually like that. I just like that people enjoyed the video or engaged in the video at least. That's what I'm all about, actually. That was my goal in doing this. But yeah, I mean, but again, looking back, I had no clue going in that I was going to get so much backlash for including the covers albums. But I just did that so we could have more rounds and we could kind of take it further.
Uh, the World Needs a Hero was a definite attempt to
Yep, there's Garage Incorporated for you.
Guys, Garage Incorporated, I have loved ever since I was a kid. Metallica is a very great cover band when they're covering other artists. I gotta give this round to Metallica. We have 8 rounds for Metallica and 1 round for Megadeth.
Okay, right there. You notice a little glitch. Oh man. It was right around that point in the video, 41 minutes and 6 seconds, where I really needed some water because I had been talking nonstop for 40 minutes. So I clicked the pause button on my iPhone camera and I got some water. But then when I came back, I instead of clicking the resume button, I accidentally clicked the stop button. So the video just stopped. And I so did not want to have to re-record it all over again. So I like spent the next 2.5 hours or so looking for a program where I could take 2 videos and splice them together. And obviously I found one. But my point in bringing this up is between what you just saw right there, there's a difference in time of multiple hours. And so when I'm talking right here, this is actually much later than the rest of the video. This is actually recorded on Halloween. I really wanted to get this done quickly so I could, hand out candy to the trick-or-treaters. So, yeah, I was kind of running short on time there. All right, we're about ready to wrap this up, and this is actually going to bring us right back to the present day because This was my most recent episode of Album Rant
But ask me another day, it
on
might
Led
bring it
Zeppelin
up to
2.
fun. Both are incredibly strong tracks. Every track on here is an incredibly strong track. Just some are better than others. But yes, Led Zeppelin with those first two albums, basically, like I said, invented the sound of heavy metal, and it was finished and completed by Sabbath the following year. And so that is going to conclude my review of Led Zeppelin 2, released in 1969. Again, sorry it took me a few days to come back. I was traveling for the holidays, I was seeing people, and I had stuff come up. But, better late than never. Never. Anyways, I'll be back next time with another song tournament, so here I go again. But until then, have a very pleasant evening.
And that is going to conclude it, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate y'all tuning in for this very special episode of Album Rant. And I'm glad we got a chance to, reflect upon the years. I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary, actually. I started this channel in February something of 2023, so not too far away from that. But right now, I just want to focus on episode 101. And we're gonna watch an artist bring the world to their stage. But until then, have a very pleasant evening.